Hello everyone, this is Sherry at Soul Conscious Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me this week. This is going to be your soul weather forecast for this week, and it is basically, I'm going to pull an oracle card, and then we're going to pull a few tarot cards with some clarifiers to get the overall message for this week. It's a general reading that's timeless, so whenever you find it, there's possibly something in it that is meant for you. I also hope wherever you are in the world right now that you're having a beautiful, wonderful day. Now, first off, I want to discuss, before we go into the general message, things that have been coming up for me, and I don't know if anyone else resonates with this, but I have a feeling it's going, it ties into possibly what's going to come up in the reading. With this full moon, I know things have been coming to the surface for me, and it's caused me to be in my feels a little bit more than normal. So if you resonate with that, I'd love to hear from you. Comment below. But I know it's been bringing up some stuff to the surface for me, and I have a feeling there's probably other people that are experiencing the same thing, where things are coming up, bubbling up, from our subconscious or deep down in our soul, that's coming up to the surface for us to look at and examine. So it's got us in our feels, got us thinking and thinking over about a lot of things, where we are in our life, where we want to be, where we want to go, looking at the things around us. And I have a feeling right now is a really important time to be grateful for the things that we have in our life. Really just, count your blessings. I'm really feeling, to the need to express that now is a time to really be counting our blessings, looking at our lives, and what do we have to be grateful for? What do we have to be thankful for? Because we forget to do that sometimes every day. And when we have gratitude for things, it allows the universe, it's putting out that energy of gratitude and thankfulness. And so the universe returns that in kind. It matches that energy and that frequency. So when you're on that frequency, then it wants to bring, it knows that you appreciate it, and through that appreciation, it brings more things into your life. So for the oracle card for this week, we have the Wizard of Awareness, which, you look at that, that wizard sitting there, almost a Merlin-esque type character, sitting there on his chair and contemplating, thinking about things. And that's what I said. I feel like this full moon has really brought some things to the surface for all of us. Let me see here. I think, I think for the main message, I have a new deck that I bought. It's the Healing Light Tarot. I was really, really drawn to this deck, and it's newer. I just bought it because I loved the artwork. I was drawn to the artwork on it, and I'm feeling like interesting. I love kind of the tie-ins when you see things that draw your eye, and if you look at the back behind that wizard there, behind him there's those little swirls. And then I'm drawn to, on the back of the stack is kind of those swirls. And then he's got, the light illuminated from his staff up here. And this has got that light in the center. So there's those correlations and connections with these, with that image. The oracle card that came out and the deck that I chose, it's interesting that kind of stuff comes to play, but usually it's significant and it usually accounts for something. So it's something to pay attention to, those kind of connections, synchronicities, correlations like that. And there's usually a reason for it. Okay, so we had two cards that came out. So, we have the 3 and the 4 of Swords, and this is making so much sense because, I said things are coming up, and things that come up can be a little bit, it can be discomforting. put us in our feels. That Four of Swords talks about thinking over things, healing from things. And usually, things have to come to the surface in order for us to heal them. We think things over and things through, and we feel our way through it. So that usually makes us a little more, pulled back, and we're not as social as we would, typically be, because we're going through that introspection period, of trying to work through some things and trying to figure out, like I said at the beginning, where, if you're kind of what, in a place like this full moon affected me, and you have things that are coming to the surface, that this full moon puts you in your feels a little bit. I talked at the beginning about this is you may be looking at, where you are in life, where you want to go in life, what's next in life. Maybe you're dissatisfied with where you are, where you live, what you're doing, who you're in relationships with, what needs to change in your life. This is really making me shuffle, but I'm not actually surprised it's making me shuffle, because this is a newer deck. So it needed to mix those cards around. So then the last card we have is the Eight of Pentacles. So let me see. I want to see what was and temperance. That's not surprising. At the bottom of the deck is Temperance. So crossing all this is Temperance and Patience. And it's just going to take time. It's going to take time to process that. And with the Four of Swords being here, that's that processing energy and working on it. It's stuff that we're going to have to work through, work through. I think let's clarify using the Gilded Tarot. See if we get anything else that comes through when we clarify. So I'm going to clarify this Four of Swords here. I think this is the Fool. I think this is a pretty straightforward message for this week. It seemed pretty cut and dry, but we go ahead and pull some clarifications on each of these cards to see if there's something more that we want to add to each one of these cards. And then the Fool makes sense to me with it being on the Four of Swords, because it is that, if we take it in the context of the message that's coming through, the Fool talks about, taking a chance, taking a risk on something, and sometimes not always thinking things through. So there might be areas in your life where you have been impulsive, or you made a decision that you thought that was the right decision that maybe turned out to be, right now you're thinking, maybe that wasn't the best decision. Maybe I need to think about things differently. And if you're feeling that need to make a change in your life, in some area of your life, usually you need that Fool energy to want to move out of that, our comfort zone. The Fool energy is everything we need to embrace to move outside of our comfort zone and do something new in our life and make the changes that we want to make. And then that's coupled with the Knight of Pentacles. So it's how do we move forward in a stable way? How do we have that new beginning and take that risk, be that Fool, but in a way that is going to be steadfast and steady and steadfast, and is going to produce stable results, productive, stable results in our life, that's something that we can count on, that we can rely on, build that sturdy foundation, move in a way that even though we want to take that risk and do something new, how do we do that, and how do we move toward that in a way that it's going to, remain stable and stay in our lives in a stable way. And then, so we have the Temperance card that came up in another deck on the Three of Swords here. So it's that patience and being patient with yourself. You know, be patient with, I'm really getting, this heartbreak is not, or the Three of Swords is not indicating heartbreak from a, you know, a outside, necessarily outside, dynamics. I'm really picking up in this context, it's about where you feel like you've let yourself down, you know, where you feel like you've caused yourself pain with the choices or decisions that you've made, and you're being hard on yourself. It's that, you know, it's that kind of a feeling of pain, that Three of Swords that I'm picking up off of this Three of Swords. And so with this Temperance card coming out, it's being patient with yourself, you know, to forgive yourself for any decisions you make, and understand that everything that you have done in your life to this point in time has all happened for a reason. You had to learn and experience that so that you could grow from it. So any decision that you made in your life is never a wrong decision, because it's always a chance to learn and grow, and you needed to experience that so that you could move forward in a new way. If you didn't have that perspective, if you didn't have that experience, you wouldn't have the perspective from it to realize that's something that you didn't want, that you don't want, that you need to do something differently. It took that experience to put you in that frame of mind to understand that you need something different. So no choice is ever a wrong choice or a wrong decision. So it's time to forgive yourself. And then we have Judgment and Temperance. So I mean, this makes perfect sense. It's everything that I just said before the card even kind of hit the table there. With those two cards together, it really is being patient with yourself and forgiving yourself, you know, that it's, you know, that the decisions that you made in your life, they were made for a reason, and they helped you to grow and become the person that you are now and that you will be. Okay, and so lots of pentacles on the end there, and that's good, because that means our outcome is looking phenomenal here. So we have on the Eight of Pentacles, we have the Page of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. So I mean, this is what we're working for. We're working toward our abundance. What is going to bring us stability and abundance in our life? What is going to bring us happiness? You know, and putting that work and effort into making the changes that we need to make. Even with that Four of Swords, it's like, with that introspection that we're doing while we're, you know, doing, when things are coming up and we're thinking and processing things, which that's what I'm really getting, is this energy of processing things that are coming up. You know, this full moon has caused things to come up that require some processing on our part, and that processing, you know, is how do we make changes? How do we implement those changes? But how do we be that full and make those changes, but make them in a way that is going to be productive and abundant? And it looks like, you know, at the end of this, look at all these cards of abundance at the end, because we're working on the changes that are going to bring that abundance to our life, you know, and whatever that looks like for you, it's going to look like something different for each and every person out there. But I think this is a beautiful, beautiful message. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. Oh, I never pulled the emoji card. Oh my gosh, I didn't pull the emoji card. I almost completely forgot about that. Well, better late than never. I was just drawn. I was like, I feel like there's something missing here. I feel like I'm missing something. And lo and behold, it was our emoji card for the week. And I always pull these for these soul weather forecasts. And okay, so with this, I'm getting this as that more frustrated with yourself, you know, like, this could be mad at the world. Actually, I'm feeling the rub. So I'm going to say with this emoji card, what I'm really, really getting is, you know, how, when you're frustrated with things, like when you realize, especially with things that are coming to the surface, when things come to the surface and you realize that you're not happy where you are, whether that be in a relationship, whether that be where you're living, where you're working, whatever it is in life, when you realize that you're not happy with something, what happens? We start getting irritated at everything. Little things bother us. If you're not happy with a job, little things that come about, like if somebody asks you to do something, you can frustrate you and irritate you and get on your nerves because you're just really, it's not that you're upset with them or you're not upset about what they're requiring or asking of you. It's the fact that deep down in your soul, you're not happy with where you are, and that's being projected outward to the people around you. And same thing with the relationship. Things that normally wouldn't bother you in a relationship, when you become unhappy in that relationship, little things start to bother you. You start noticing things. It's like, you notice things that will make you uncomfortable because it's doing that because deep down you want to change and you're looking for any reason to change. So it's almost like you're causing that friction because you're trying to it's your subconscious causing conflict to get you to move, to get you to change, to get you to want to change, to get you to look at things and see that you're not happy where you are, and that comes out in our outward environment as friction, where we're irritated at little tiny things that are happening. And that's, like I said, that's our body's way, our mind, subconscious, soul's way of letting us know that we need to change. And sometimes we're not ready for that change. And so we keep, things have to keep building and building and building until there's enough frustration inside of us that we overcome the need to stay in our comfort zone and catapults us to make that change that we need to make in our life, to grow and become a different person, to move outside our comfort zone and break free of what we're used to, the life that we're used to, where we're living, where we're working, or the person that we're with, to grow and experience something new. Because otherwise we would just stay in the same thing. That's why that discomfort happens. Why, when you're uncomfortable someplace, it either requires getting in that hangman energy of, getting a new perspective on the current situation you're in so that you see it in a new light, so that you don't have that discomfort and you're no longer, frustrated with the situation. It requires us to grow internally or us to grow out, in an external way. So it's either internally we process and we change our perspective, or we change our environment. So if we don't change our perspective in the way we look at the current situation, then it forces us to move to a new situation. So that's the way things always happen in life. It's either going to be from internal or external. It's going to be, we're either going to make that change within ourselves, or we're going to make it outside of ourselves by going to a new relationship, a new job, a new place, or we make it inside of ourselves with gaining a new perspective and a new viewpoint on the things that are existing in our life, so that we can accept them and appreciate them for what they are. So I'm glad that, I pulled that emoji card, because I think that added a lot of depth to this reading that needed to be there to help people understand, what can cause what causes us to make those changes in our lives, and I really feel like this full moon is really about processing things, whether that, from, looking at things and either gaining that new perspective or realizing, okay, I can't accept where I am. I need to make a change. And then how do I make that change? Whether that's internally or externally. And so I wish you the best of luck. And I hope that if you like this message, please, I would love for you to like like the video, and feel free to share and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate every single one of you that took the time to join me this week, took time out of your busy schedule to tune in and join me and listen to me. Thank you so much. I wish you the best joy, love, and light.